Good afternoon. Just capturing a quick video here on the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. It's Saturday, November 29th, 2025 here in Sarasota, Florida. Um, hmm. The most recent videos that I have done, and I have not recorded much in the past few months. And the most recent ones have been directly related to a relationship, a unique relationship in my life, and one that had dominated in my heart for the past year. This relationship had to shift. I didn't want it to end, but it had to shift dramatically. And I needed to wait until something happened with this person's dying father. I had to wait for the father to die. Very sick man, old man, dying of cancer, stage 4, not getting treatment. And I, after multiple times of trying to pull away from this relationship, and trust me, it was not, thank God, in the end, it was not, I wasn't dating him. Um, you know, I had not been physical with him except for one day where we shared four beautiful, softest, sweetest kisses on January 22nd of 2025. That was the most physicalness that we shared before everything got so confusing and the mixed messages and the months that I would then choose to endure in terms of I mean curiosity, fascination, deep love at a soul level for this man, especially after having shared a very intimate experience with him on January 4th when he was driving himself to the hospital as he was having, as it would turn out, a heart attack. And I spent 2 nights in the hospital with him. And it was then that what I had previously had at an arm's distance, because I did see who this guy was. I knew the incompatibilities were immense. I knew there was no chance at a real relationship. My cat's going nuts. But I was overcome in an unprecedented way with the physical attraction to this man and him for me. And for a minute, I let myself play with the idea of just being sharing physicality with him. That has not worked well for me in this lifetime, despite having to show myself that multiple times. Every time I seem to yearn for something physical and believe that I can enjoy that without a deeper connection, I am left feeling very uncomfortable and usually letting something go too far just because I don't want to let the guy down, that I'm, thinking I can have this physicality with and enjoy it. And I never do. And invariably it's with a guy who doesn't even dialed into me to know enough to the extent to which I'm not enjoying it. And it just never ends well. And sadly, this has happened more than once or twice in this lifetime. So I I would like to believe that this is the last time heart attack guy with what I experienced with heart attack guy. I'd like to believe that this is the last time that I delude myself into believing that no matter how much I may want something physical or yearn for this physical connection with a man, it's going to be worth every minute of waiting until there is the deeper soul connection that I'm waiting for. And I'm okay if it never happens, but it's hard. I've been divorced 21 years, almost 21 years, and no, almost 22 years. And this guy was really only the second guy in 22 years that I was drawn to and felt this just deep connection and really was doing everything I could to try to make, in this case, even just a friendship work. But because of my lack of a dating repertoire, my lack of experience, and because of the wounds that have dominated my intimate relations with men, this proved to be chock full of deep, painful lessons. Well, I had to go 2 months, over 2 months, without seeing him and being absolutely destroyed, my heart broken into a million pieces, and just like more grief than I've ever felt for anything else in this life. Like this relationship and this connection and the work that I did throughout this past year and the woman that I was, like who I am and how I showed up. Oh my God. I mean, it was just, this was so much for me, so big for me. And I did everything I could to try to be detached and to just focus on what this man and our energy together, what it did to my heart. And it just ignited me. And well, I had to step away. And because, and it shouldn't have been surprising, but I wasn't prepared for it. You know, I dare say he probably has never had anybody, any woman, handle like I'm sure he doesn't know what to say or do. But um, needless to say, I had to eventually return to my gym, and I was avoiding my gym because primarily our relationship primarily existed, as silly as that sounds, at our gym where we work out at the Y. And just like an addict, I decided that I needed 28 days from the last time that he basically voiced to me that he wasn't going to take any accountability or responsibility for his side of the equation at all. I was overreacting. How I was reacting was disproportionate. You know, how he even can comment on what he doesn't even understand. He never asked any questions. He never taught. Like, fucking crazy dealing with this guy. Like the emotional immaturity that dominates my intimate relationships with men is the thing that I've been tiptoeing around for decades, truly. And I'm done. I'm not tiptoeing it around anymore. And the emotional immaturity is what eventually kills, the last relationship that I had and this one. Like just recognizing uh, they're not strong enough to admit that they are emotionally immature. I don't want to point it out, but you almost have to, because dealing with a boy in a man's body is just it's exhausting. It makes you go crazy and it's not enjoyable, and they gaslight and they twist it all around and they make you feel crazy, really. And finally I learned that I'm not accepting that, and so the last time I physically had seen him was at the gym, and he didn't even have the audacity or sensitivity or decency to say what he said to me in private. We're on the pool deck of the fucking gym. And as he's, putting it all on me, right? Putting it all on me, not, again, not accepting any bit of the incredible mixed messages and inconsistencies and just all the bullshit ways that, being a friend with him was, and how he communicated and how he treated and clearly how little he valued what I was in his life and how much he took it for granted. All of this is just going way over his head. So I sat there, I let him basically attack me, and then kind of like a hurt dog, I just kind of put my head down, left the gym, and then realized I need some time. And I took a full 4 weeks of not seeing him, just like a detox program, just like a rehab, treating it very much like an addiction, because there's something in me when I'm in something, I'm all in. And admittedly, I do not let go well. I don't let go easily. I don't let go well. I don't leave things even when it's clear I need to leave things or people or relationships. And so I knew he was my kryptonite. I knew I needed time, but I also knew that inevitably I'd have to return to the gym. And so this past Monday, oh my God, unbelievable the extent to which our energies are clearly still connected given what transpired right before I arrived at the gym. Him reaching out for the first time in, since all this happened with a text and again, pretending like nothing happened. He's like, what? I thought we were friends, like we already established, like clearly not listening to anything that I've been communicating for weeks to him, like nothing. So I ignored the text. I contemplated not going to the gym as I was en route to the gym when this text came in. And I said, no, man, screw this. I'm going to the gym. I need to get back into shape. 2 months is a long time for me to not properly exercise. So I go to the gym. And of course, oh God, I mean, in all week I've been to the gym. So we've now crossed paths there 3 times. And I don't say anything. As I walk in, I had to walk right by him. He was talking to somebody in the lobby. It was, oh God, the intensity and everything in my heart was so, my heart was just, pounding. But I didn't feel like crying. I wasn't sad. And I was standing tall. And I did as I planned. I knew with this guy because I hate labels, but this guy is definitely leans towards having a tremendous amount of qualities identified with what we know as a narcissist. And I know it's overused. I can't stand how overused that word has become and that label has become. But labels and generalizations, as much as I can't stand them, they come around for a reason. They are established for a reason. And I did not have much familiarity with the details of narcissism at all until I knew I was stepping away. Then I listened to a ton of two particular psychologists, Jordan Peterson and this woman named Dr. Romani, I think is how you pronounce her name, speak about narcissism and specifically narcissists with empaths, which I most certainly am, and that sort of potent, dangerous combination, like a perfect storm for an empath to cross paths with a narcissist. So there's just no in between with a narcissist. I mean, there's just no in between. This guy clearly demonstrated, and as I listened to more and more, I was astounded by how textbook narcissist he was, like astounded. And it helped absolutely empower me and validate that I wasn't crazy because you absolutely begin to think you're fucking crazy with how they turn things around. And he's extremely smart, extremely manipulative, extremely controlling, deceitful, dishonest, and it is an insane experience to go through. And I've had some other narcissists in my life. Come here, Peanut. But I've never not to this extent, and it takes you on a ride for sure. So there is no in between with him. There isn't. There isn't. If he wants to step up and actually be responsible and accountable and demonstrate that he actually cares and it's not all about him, well, okay, then maybe we'll talk. But there's a better chance of finding a snowball in hell than of that happening. So all to say that later that day on Monday, I chose to respond to his text because it was just, again, the audacity to be like, I thought we already established that we were friends. Like, wouldn't this just be easier? Like, aren't you overreacting? Like, seriously, this, and so I responded pretty harshly. Everything I wrote was truth. There's no fucking doubt about it. Everything I wrote was truth in this text. And it wasn't super long, but it wasn't super short, but it was direct. And it would seem that maybe perhaps he finally has heard what I'm saying. And in that text, I basically said, more or less thanks, but no thanks. I'm done being friends with you. Are you seriously? Like, no. The way that, like, being friends with you, I'm not interested in being your female bro. Like with the bros, you're cool. You're probably not at all how you are with me, but the way that you are with me, this ain't working for me. I've told you it's not working for me. And no, you don't get to just take what you want, take it for granted, use me, treat me like shit, inconsistent, lack of respect, no communication skills. No, dude, no, it's done. And I cannot tell you the shift that took place within 30 minutes. This was on Monday. I've now seen him 2 other days, including today, and the strength that's coming back within me. And I knew that I was not going to emerge as the same version of myself. Not even close. And I am still very much putting myself back together in all the ways since just being completely dismantled and destroyed by this experience. And allowing that to happen and facing it head on and going through the stages and the grief and peeling back the onion and asking myself the tough questions and putting up the mirror and doing all of the work. And I knew I was going to emerge differently. What continues to happen with this man continues to be unprecedented and so deep and so beautiful. And I am astounded by the fact that I can sit here and say, I absolutely still love this man, but I love him at the soul level. We are here existing as our characters, but our characters are a more hyper-focused, denser expression of our higher self, of our soul. And it's an and both. What the awakening is, what this conscious shift in human evolution is. This shift in consciousness is a remembering and an understanding at the highest level that it's and both. We are a higher soul that chooses and organizes and sets up lifetimes as characters to learn lessons for us at the soul level. Alyson, the lifetime of Alyson is like a graduate school program for the soul of Alyson. And I'm Alyson, but I'm so much more beyond Alyson. So when I say I love him, his character is not somebody that currently knows how to he is not able to harmonize with me. He has taken zero effort. No, he's not even like there's nothing that he has done in any way, shape, or form at the character level with his character in mind that merits me granting him that access. Nothing. He is not a good friend to me. There's nothing there. He takes and takes and takes and doesn't give and doesn't communicate. Nothing there at the personality level. But at the soul level, he doesn't remember himself at the soul level, but that's what I saw in the hospital. That's what I remembered. That's what floored me and really got me twisted up as I sat in that hospital. And more than recognizing I'll save that. I was going to say what else happened at the hospital and in that experience, but suffice to say, that's when I sort of lost control of the situation. I had it at bay. I knew who he was. I knew there was no chance at a relationship. I could see the emotional immaturity. I knew he was a bro, but he was hot, and I was drawn to him hugely, and he was to me, and we were exchanging in that way, in text, in voice, in words. We knew that. And then after the little kiss, he fucking, I don't know what happened, freaked out, I don't know. And it's that's really, really, it's a really hard thing because I know his feelings didn't change. He just doesn't, he's afraid. He's afraid, he's emotionally immature, and he just wants to stay in the comfort zone. And you're not going to be able to, you're going to have to grow if you want a close relationship with me. You're going to have to be on a path of growth, even to be a friend with me. I'm not interested I am interested in the constant conscious growth and expansion, especially with what's going on at the planet. And if you're not there, that's cool. I'm pretty happy and content entertaining myself. I don't need a lot of friends. If it's not real and deep and honest and genuine, I don't need it in my life close, and that's okay. So, what has floored me though is like I just I'm blown away with my capacity to still have these immense feelings of love that I can direct at him silently, telepathically, and hold space without speaking to him, without talking, without having a relationship at all. And it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my heart, and I'm so proud of myself. This has been so hard, like the hardest thing in the world to have navigated this whole, especially the past 6 months with him, 6, 7 months, and the fact that I'm on the other side after so much pain and grief, and and how I feel and how I'm emerging, and the fact that I didn't go through that grief. I had like one day of anger, and most of the anger was directed at myself because I knew what I was dealing with. I knew it. So it was like I've managed to stay in my heart and have love with and for myself and for him through this whole process. And that magnitude of true detachment, connected but detached, is blowing me away. So, on this Thanksgiving weekend, I'd be remiss if I didn't share, again, as it pertains to this story, the magnitude of gratitude and appreciation I have for this unbelievably unique relationship and for this man. And I will, just like B, I will always love Heart Attack guys. Heart Attack guy. These are the only two men in 22 years that I have even remotely imagined and wanted a, a connection with them. And they're so similar, yet also completely different. And I'll love both of them for the rest of this lifetime. And I'm just so happy that I can still feel and extend that love. B is still in my life as a friend. Heart Attack guy, he doesn't get grandfathered in. B got grandfathered in because we had a lot of years of back and forth. And I still have weird feelings about the fact that he's still a friend and we've never really talked. He's never really been accountable for all the pain and the shit, that happened with us. He's never really owned any of that. He's never really apologized for the shenanigans that took place. But he kind of got grandfathered in because he, unlike Heart Attack guy, is not at all connected to the regular world and the distractions and the he's more spiritually evolved and a lot more spiritually awake and aware than Heart Attack guy is. But the fact that these two men have such huge pieces of my heart and always will, and I am just, like I said, very proud and very happy that I was able to transmute so much pain into love. And as each day goes by, I am myself again at the gym. And it sucks to ignore him and to still talk to all his bros and his buddies and to acknowledge them. But it has to be that. It has to be that. There is no in between. If I let him back in even just a little bit, he will just bulldoze me again with complete, he just, because he doesn't, he can't, he's not choosing to hear any of it. And again, which is fine. But I'm getting stronger by the day and also growing in my compassion and my love for him, while also maintaining the self-love that I had to maintain to navigate through this. And I just think it's it's a story that is, I know I'm not the only one out there that has experienced a relationship like this with somebody. I know I'm not the only woman out there who, despite being 50 years old, still haven't really experienced just a deep, honest, real, full connection with a man. And I still yearn for that. I want to know what that feels like. I want to know what it feels like to truly be seen and not to be seen as a threat and not to be minimized and to have to play small for the low, fragile ego of the man. I want to be seen and valued and appreciated as the powerful, goddess, badass woman that I am. And I want to experience all the layers of that, one small step at a time. I don't need to label it. I don't need to constrict it. I don't need it to last forever. I just want to baby step through a real connection. I'm ready. And now I think I've finally learned the lessons. I'm not going to settle. And I'm not going to make the same mistakes that I have now made with B and with Heart Attack Guy. I'm learning huge things. And ultimately, I'm just learning greater and greater capacities of self-love so that I don't have to settle. Like knowing I'm okay. I've been okay for most of my life. I've been alone most of my life, and I'm okay with it. And I'm also okay with still admitting that I want that with a man. I don't need it. I want it. And I think he's making his way to me now after I finally made space by releasing bullshit treatment from somebody who couldn't see me or value me or appreciate me. And so there it is. Thank you, Heart Attack Guy. I really do love you deeply. And I held on for as long as I could, trying to hold that space for you to hear, actually care enough to listen, so that we could potentially even just share minimal things. I wasn't asking for the moon. It was the bare minimum communication, bare minimum consistency, bare minimum respect, and you couldn't do it. So you don't get to be close to this if you can't handle at least that. But I do love your soul, and I always will. And I thank you because you have taught me so much. So thank you.